Primer, Igniting a Fire Within by Father Thomas Dubay. Chapter 4, Getting the Feel. Most people, it would seem, think of prayer as vocal expression, especially in asking God for what we need, and indeed thus it is. Vocal prayer is so important that we shall devote an entire chapter to it, and 2 other chapters to liturgical prayer. Jesus himself admonishes us to ask, seek, and knock. Yet at the same time, prayer is lots else too. We have already noticed that the psalmist declares that immersing ourselves in the divine loveliness, that is, contemplation, is the most important of our daily privileges and duties. This love-penetrated union with the indwelling Father, Son, and Holy Spirit entails a personal transformation from one glory to another, into the very divine image itself. Any serious theist can see that this has to be the overriding necessity in any human life. Interpersonal intimacy. In our contemporary media, the word intimacy usually refers to sexual relations. In the mutual self-gift of a committed marriage, open to new life, this usage is correct. But egocentric carnal contacts are quite the opposite of interpersonal. Mere animals engage in them, and there is by definition nothing interpersonal involved. Sin is always self-centered, even when accompanied by amorous expressions. Lust is exploitation. Intimacy is by no means first of all physical closeness. 2 bricks cemented to each other are not models of intimacy. People who will and do good to others, even when nothing is received in return, are the ones who love genuinely. They are personally close precisely to the degree that they are devoted to the other's welfare and advantage. There are of course degrees of union and intimacy with the Lord. In all of them, God speaks first, not usually in audible human words, but in a divine manner. He gives us the very inclination and desire to turn to him with our needs, and also our will to adore and love. 1 John 4:19. We on our part need to be alert and listen for his message and light, as did the boy Samuel. Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. 1 Samuel 3:9-10. At the beginning of this relationship, one speaks to God with words, either one's own or from a set formula. And just as in ordinary human relationships, this intimacy grows to the extent that we love the gospel generously, which, naturally enough, includes giving adequate time to prayer itself. Amazingly, God deeply desires this communion with us. He thirsts for us, not because he needs us, but because he is pure love. Whether we realize it or not, prayer is the encounter of God's thirst with ours. God thirsts that we may thirst for him. Of all interpersonal intimacies open to the human person, contemplative prayer, in its advanced stages of development, is incomparably the greatest. Mystics, the men and women of profoundest immersion in the indwelling Trinity, are unanimous in declaring that these depths immeasurably surpass any other experience. They are literally unspeakable. St. Paul is of a like mind when he tells the Corinthians that the human eye has not seen, nor ear heard, nor can the human mind even imagine what splendours God has prepared for those who love him. 1 Corinthians 2:9. Worldly people are little inclined to suspect or believe all this, but we should not be surprised. They have no experience of the reality. They are like a man born blind, challenging the description of a magnificent painting. Communing in mystery. Everything in visible creation, from the tiny atom to immense galaxies, is mysterious. a mixture of knowing and unknowing, even to the expert, and especially to the expert. The one who knows much about anything knows far better than the uneducated how much he does not know about it. Despite the wonders our various sciences daily uncover, we always find new marvels and questions and mysteries. Our human knowledge is necessarily a mingling of positive knowing together with a cut-off knowing. We grasp only so much and no more at any given time. This is why nothing is completely clear and fully known to us. We do not even know ourselves with complete lucidity. Because God is endless power, light, beauty, and love, with no limit whatsoever, he must be the deepest of mysteries. If this were not so, he would not be God. Consequently, getting closer to him on earth must absolutely be shrouded in darkness. It could not be otherwise. We know him, but never fully. Even the summit of contemplative prayer is attained in darkness, for in this life no one can see God. John 1:18. Only in the ecstasy of the beatific vision, when we shall behold the unsurpassable beauty of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit face to face, shall our contemplation be perfectly clear. Through the empowerment of the light of glory, we shall drink infinite splendour in unclouded and unending glory. Paradoxically, the selfish shall be empty, whereas the selfless shall be filled. The sinner scrambles to achieve satiety, but he ends up gulping air. The saint, in giving up a self-centered clinging, attains the Lord of the universe and all else with it. In this, as in all else, the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. It is, after all, by the hard road and the narrow gate that we find fullest living and the most genuine joy. Matthew 7:13-14. In sincere prayer, we turn our puny selves to the Supreme Other. Even though growth is a gradual process, when we break free of egocentrism, we find abiding delight. He fills the hungry with good things, says the mother of Jesus. Indeed, he does. As prayer deepens, a point can be reached where a person becomes so absorbed in triune beauty that he is conscious of the beloved alone. There is no other love like it on our planet, which raises our next point. The aim, to fall in love. One of the beauties of divine revelation is that everything is summed up in one reality, love. God is, not simply has, purest, unending love, 1 John 4:8. And whatever good we happen to be doing, if it is done well, is living love in action, 2 John 6. Because truth is symphonic, it makes one concert of beauty. It follows that the aim of all prayer is eventually to be head over heels in love with love, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. When that happens, we are then going to love everyone, even our enemies and those who neglect us. The answer to our question of getting a feel for what prayer essentially is, all types of prayer, we find splendidly etched by St. Paul. As we get closer and closer to God, we are transformed from one glory to another, and we thus become more and more like the one we love. 2 Corinthians 3:18. Everything we have said thus far, and shall say to the last sentence of this book, is summarized in this one idea. All this may strike some people as utopian and merely romantic. If so, I would suggest that they set aside the glitter and superficiality of the entertainment industry for a few hours a day, for a week, and ponder what we have been saying. They will find that, yes, we have traced an outline of the supreme romance, and it has the advantage of being true.